Welcome to the Meta Minute. So, what is the Meta Minute? We're doing a very, very quick review of post week one in season 45. Who am I? Ken. Doesn't really matter if you don't know me. Yeah, it doesn't matter so much. I watch a ton of GAC fights. Um, so, let's sort of get started straight from the top. And by the way, you could be either listening to this on the podcast or watching it on YouTube. On YouTube, you'll have the advantage of seeing me scroll through the pages and you can see the stats yourself, many of them that I will not talk specifically about. But if you're on the podcast, you'll hear me talk about it, and I'll try and mention everything that is critical, that I believe is critical. So, in this particular episode, I'm focused just on really, I'm looking at from the perspective. Oh, there's a hawk flying by my window with a fish in its talons. Yeah, I haven't seen that too often. Anyway, back to the show. So I approach this from the perspective of what am I going to put on defense? Well, no, actually, that's not true. I approach this from the perspective of what do I need to keep for offense? That's my sort of play style. So I want to look at all of the in this season. What's new? What's changing? What do I have to adjust for? Obviously, it's different at different roster sizes. Frankly, this datacron set does not present in threes at least huge changes over set huge more difficult changes over set 9. There's some teams that are better or worse, but datacron doesn't play an enormous role in them so far in set 1. um, Many of the same counters from set 2 or from last season, still last maybe 3 seasons, still work. Some are easier, some are a little bit harder, but the stats from set 9 to set 11 don't get dramatically worse. Um, so, what does change, however, is new characters. So, obviously, we have Leia. That is going to be the focus of probably half of the show because that's a big deal for people in the higher uh, levels, higher roster sizes, higher Kyber. Leia is a big deal. Malicos is a big deal. Many more people have Malicos, obviously, than Leia, especially with his 3 GAC Omicrons. Oof. Um, and to a somewhat lesser extent, the Marauder ship. Does that fit? So, I'm going to start from the top. The most important thing that I want to figure out is what do I use to beat Leia? Because that's what everybody's struggling with. There's different varieties if she doesn't have her ultimate, depending on the datacron that she has. Drogon is sort of the most difficult one, so for most of my searches, I put the Drogon datacron in. And what does the data show us? Let's dig in. So this first one shows, I'm talking about here, what do we kill Leia with, right? So this first filter is Leia Drogon R2 with the Drogon datacron, no cleanups. And of course GLs. We will go to Riva in a moment. Let's focus first. Let's say you want a one-shot her. What are the one-shot options that aren't super datacron dependent, right? So what do we find out? It is now. There's only 7 attempts here. That's SLKR, Malicos, and KRU. There's only 7 attempts, so let's be a little suspicious. Let's look at 7 attempts. What is the datacron? First of all, moderate defense. I'm looking at the Leia datacrons. Moderate defense, moderate defense, moderate defense. 134 defense. Okay. 175 defense was a fail. And that's odd. There's 2 fails, 5 successes. The one fail is 175 defense and damage reduction. The other fail is damage reduction, the rebels, and like no defense, just health steal. Do the other, okay, it seems like a lot of them are still, the successes were still damage reduction. So that can't be it. What were the fails on the SLKR side? This is 10% turn meter. This is riposte, okay. 52 seconds. That's a super fast loss, the second ones. 2 omicrons, 3 omicrons, 2 omicrons. What omicron did this one have? Okay, let's go to the roster of this loss that was 50 some seconds. Collection, Malicos, die weld. What's the die weld Malicos? True damage, healing immunity. Okay, so no healing immunity. No healing immunity on this loss. And they had quite a bit of health steal. Okay. So that's a clear one. Sort of need, and that was with riposte too. No healing immunity. Okay. This one was 2 minutes 6 seconds. The boatload of defense. And they had no riposte. I think you need riposte. Do these are the ones? This just has huge amount of critical damage. Okay. Okay. Critical damage 3. The other ones. Stacking. Riposte. 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 Okay, riposte seems like the way to go. All these fights are fast. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes at most. So this one, just poor stats overall. This one did not have healing immunity. Let's see, there's this one Omicron up here. Let's see if this guy, he won. He lost KRU. Riposte. Did he have... Vile Thrash. She had no die well. Which one is Vile Thrash? Oh no, that's not a Zeta 1. So let's see. They had strength is power. Strength is power. Is the extra attacking and the assisting. Okay. Well, that sort of makes sense. So, what I'm taking away from this is how many of these had alt? 3 of the 2 had alt. When they have alt, KRU is low health. KRU and Malicos died with alt. KRU and Malicos died with alt. Okay. Still fast battles. And this one, alt. Not a lot of defense though. A lot of critical damage here. No Malicos. Level 9. This show might go on for a little while. I'm digging into this a lot. So basically, what it looks like is this is going to be a meta 20 minute. SLKR, KRU, Malicos, riposte, a lot of critical damage, and of course stats level 3. And really having 2 or 3 Omicrons. The healing immunity seems critical. Yeah, alt died 52 seconds. Okay, interesting stuff. So to me, in my mind, this is what I'm looking at now for killing Leia, is SLKR, Malicos, and KRU with 3 Omicrons on your Malicos, or at least the healing immunity and the assist one. Yeah, that's a big order, but I mean, probably easier to fill than getting Leia. It seems like Leia with a lot of defense obviously helps. The damage immunity didn't seem to really make any difference above 50% turn meter, you know? Damage reduction, not damage immunity. Okay, interesting. Let's look. Goodbye that guy, goodbye that guy. So that was the cleanup. So let's take off that. Let's say you want to try and kill, so you want to kill one or two or something like that. Riva was popular. So Riva GI 7th. A few successes. Let's go look at the failures. 2 dead, 2 dead, 2 dead, 2 dead, 1 dead, 1 dead, 1 dead, 1 dead, 1 dead, 1 dead. This is a total of 59 battles. Only 4 successes. I'm scrolling down. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. There's tons of deaths here. And then how many have nothing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd say like 20 have nothing. Datacrons look mediocre. Maybe they do torture first instead of basic, because you want Drogon to cleanse and then have death mark applied. Yeah, you want riposte as well. Okay, so I would say with a good Datacron and playing correctly, Riva can kill 1 or 2. And then what do you do with the sides? So let's go over here. So this is with Leia and R2 alive, exactly those members. What kills Leia and R2 together? Here we have JKL, Jedi Cal, and Old Ben. One with alt, one without alt. Both pretty fast, both pretty reliable. Great datacrons on defense. Okay, well that seems pretty good, nice. Here's Maul, ISC, and Gar. Those are very fast fights, my goodness. 2 with alt. That seems nice. Another JKL. No alt Leia. Yeah, I'm a little suspicious. Maul Candy and ISC. Alt Leia. So I would say Maul and ISC and JKL and yeah, JKL has some options there. Let's see just JKL lead. Nah, JKL Mace or JKL Jedi Knight Cal seem to be the critical ones. So this is cleaning up Leia and R2, because Drogon's obviously harder. Here's another, I think this was Arnold's. Darth Vader, Mace, and Starkiller. Yeah, that came very, 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 very close. Would not recommend. Huge defensive Datacron though. Less defense probably would be a lot easier. Okay, so now let's look at Leia and Drogon. What clean up Leia and Drogon? Much less attempts. So here's Basti, Cal, and JKR. Sort of long timeout. Very good Datacron. Okay, so Cal seems like good. Cal and JKR seem like good cleanup options. Here's a JKR, Hermit Yoda, and JKL. Again, this is against Leia and Drogon. This was not a great Datacron. 2.5 minutes though. Damage reduction, Jedi. I don't like it as much. Yeah, here I put for Leia and Drogon, bring a GL. GLs would be much easier. Obviously, like virtually any of the GLs will clean up. I mean, some exceptions. Like there's a few little off things. Don't use Jabba, don't use JML. But some JML comps do. With JKL, it looks like you're sitting well. Yeah, so Jedi seem great, as do Maul, Imperial Super Commando, and Gar or Candy or something like that to do cleanup. Okay, so trying to move on from Leia here. If this SLKR Malicos KRU thing is sorted out, maybe use Leia for offense. I think that's wild. I'm keeping on defense for sure. So let's move on. Next topic. What is this? This is Leia Oh, just solo Leia. That's true. I wanted to look at what happens like if you kill two sides with Riva. What can you do against solo Leia? Um, well, Riva is there, but obviously if you used her before, it's not going to work very well. Gas seems like the best option by far. Best slash cheapest. Here's Maul again with the ISC. Trench. Oh, that's pretty decent. Trench. But gas seems like a bit expensive maybe, but 9 battles, 100% success. Or Wampa. And Wampa I find interesting. There's 2 successes, both against alt Leias. I mean, technically Wampa should more successes, but there's fails. He has a 16 attempts, 37% success. So let's look at some of the fails. Terrible Wampa datacron. Terrible Wampa datacron. Okay, this is not bad. Hellsteel and critical damage. But a light side datacron, so he doesn't get the buffs. And nothing special. A good defense, but nothing special. Ooh, this one Leia has tenacity up, so dots aren't going to apply from Wampa. Interesting. Okay. This one again, another fail. Yeah, another fail. Terrible datacron. Another fail. Good datacron actually. Damage reduction. 3-minute battle. No datacron. No terrible datacron. Terrible datacron. Yeah. Armor penetration. That's not so good. Ability block on the level 6 though. Well, obviously that will not work. This sort of makes sense. Critical damage and armor penetration from Wampa. Relic 7 Wampa. Relic 9 alt Leia. But Leia has ability block level 6. Of course, it's not going to work. So in general, I would say Wampa versus Leia probably can work, but you have to avoid the tenacity up, because that's going to stop Wampa's dots, and ability block, obviously, and you need a good dark side datacron for Wampa. Some are beating him with light side, beating her with light side, but I would say dark side. Okay, interesting. What else does Wampa do? Oh yeah, I wanted to have it up here. Looking at Iden actually. So, because I'm still trying to figure out, against one comp I saw that was very interesting is Iden 2 tanks with Stormtrooper, the 50% TM removal. Technically, Wampa should beat that because once he gets enough tenacity, the 50% turn meter removal is not going to affect him at all. And with the dark side buffs, he'll get a lot more damage. There's critical damage, which is good. Defense keeps him alive. Or you put a lot of armor penetration. But the success rate here is 61%. Only 18 battles though. So this is Wampa versus Iden, Shore and Storm, and the Stormtrooper Zeta. And not Zeta, Datacron. So, I mean, obviously, other teams beat, like Radis beats it very easily. Darth Revan. Well, it's not a lot, but there's not a lot. 36 battles in total. Not a lot of attempts. So why is Wampa losing? Let's go look at some losses. Why did he lose here? Armor penetration, but it just blew him up. So Wampa maybe it's rank 7. This is a reasonable datacron, and looks like it was a timeout, not enough damage. This was sort of mediocre, and he got blown up real quick. Blown up real quick, blown up real quick, blown up real quick. So, level rank 5, rank 7, rank 8 relic, I mean by rank. So, he needs some tankiness. Oh, some of these Iden teams have a lot of critical damage too. Obviously, with no datacron, will survive. So, what are the ones that are winning? Relic 7 items, Relic 5 items. Here's a Relic 8 item. Oh, a lot of armor penetration, critical damage. Not even dark side though, no defense. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. A lot of health steal. Ton of defense on Iden's team. This one is armor penetration and critical damage. A lot of defense. Oh, Relic 9, 4 minutes, almost timed out. Okay, so I would say Wampa versus Iden 2 tanks can definitely work. but you need, it looks like a lot of armor penetration. Yeah, most of the wins are armor penetration. Some critical damage too, but armor penetration seems to be key. Okay. And now we go to this one where this is incredible. Chief Chirpa. So she, with Nisa, the Nisa level 9, and Pablu, none of the other compositions work really well. They can be killed with other teams a lot more easily. So you want Pablu, Nisa, and Chirpa. Those are the three you want to play. If you had, I mean, this is sort of a small sample size. I don't know how many people. There's 146 battles still. So enough people had these three units, and I also filtered it by Nisa's level 9 and the level 6 stacking offense. Probably don't have to put level 6 stacking offense, but I wanted, oh yeah, let's take it out. Let's take out level 6 stacking. Here, now there's 121. Okay. So, Wampa fails 34% of the time he wins. Afra 50%. Troopers 28%. Freya, 3 attempts. Great. Starkiller, yep. Bosk, 66. Gas. How did Gas lose? That's a good Gas datacron. Gas Rex 5s. TM removal, speed up. Killed only Chirpa. And then they killed him in 2 minutes and 42 seconds. That seems crazy. Huh. Not so sure what happened there, but generally I've envisioned Gas being pretty good. Darth Revan, Reva, but Apparatus is winning too. Yeah, 1 minute 20. Probably the exposes, that makes sense. But that to say, can't Wampa it, can't Afra it, can't Troopers it, can't Nest it. Nest is just failing altogether. Bounty Hunters, what was the loss here? No, good Bounty Hunters. Person's a bit triggered maybe. Oh, I should have filtered by Chirpa. Omicron. Let's see how that changes things. Well, halves Wampa's win rate from 61 to, not half, but by a third. 38%, Afra down to 24, Bosk down to 50. Starkiller, Treo, Revan still work great. Gas is at 50. So I think this team is great. For relatively, I mean, it's not cheap, but if you love your datacrons, you probably will get a Nisa if you roll up Ewoks. I mean, only Ewok, there's only Nisa Wicket. Is there another Ewok that has a level 9? And this is without any particular level 6. So, very cool. Okay. Going back a little bit to Malicos. So Vader, Maul, and Malicos. I saw this. Where did I see this here? Yeah, here we go. Vader. This is Vader, Maul, and Malicos with the riposte level 6. I didn't even include Malicos' level 9. JMK beats it easily. SLKR easily. I mean, JMK, Cat, GK. GK versus Mace, it looks like. Ray, Ben, Hoda. That was me, actually. JML, Jedi Knight, Cal. So I thought this was going to be a better comp. I saw 2 fails against it, and I didn't see any successes. But obviously, with the stats, you can see that the 2 fails I saw were probably outliers of some sort. Most of the GLs are killing it quite a bit easier. Even Fennec, Bam, and Grief have a 45 chance success rate. So don't go with that one. Now, so let's assume you don't have to kill Leia, and you're not going to use your own Malicos on defense. Malicos on offense is pretty good too. But I think because he's a new character, better to keep him for defense, my own opinion. I know there's other people out there who are saying like Seer, Malicos, and Cal, I think, old Cal can kill Ray a decent chance of the percent of the time, but I don't really like that setup myself. Nothing wrong with it, it's pretty cool, but I think it's more powerful to put Malicos on defense, or in my case, use Malicos on offense to kill Leia, because I prefer to one-shot everything. I don't need two shots. So, if you want to put Malicos on defense, what one is this one? Yeah, here we go. Here's Seer, Malicos, and KRU. There's really no good non-GL teams. Malgus, 9 battles, 70% success rate. Looks like actually Darth Revan, Bastilla, and Malak have 100% success. Okay, well that's pretty good. Anything else? Some Malak comps are beating it. Malak looks like a key there. Yeah, Malak something. So Malak seems to be the key to beat it in most cases. Some one battles, I'm not going to stress too much about those. But really, Seer, again, this is no GLs. I took off GLs from this. If you're using Malicos in defense, I would put Seer, KRU, and Malicos. Very few non-GLs. You have to use Malak basically, either Darth Revan or Malgus lead. And Malgus is sort of coming off defense anyway because Jedi Knight Cal can kill Malgus on defense quite easily. And Jedi Knight Cal is not part of any real valuable defensive team. So I think Malgus is on offense for many people. I think that's a better place for him anyway. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have a GL, everything kills this team, but we're assuming you're not using GLs on it. But if you do, there's quite a few options. So if you don't put KRU and you put Seer, Malicos, or sorry, forget about that. Don't put Seer, Malicos, and a non-KRU team. It doesn't work. But if you are using Malicos, what are you going to use with Seer? What are you going to do with Seer? So let's say you put Seer, Fulcrum, and Old Cal. And KRU you're keeping also for offense against Leia. So this team is not great. Padme kills it, Traya kills it, Gas kills it, Qui-Gon Jinn. But it looks like it's going to pull one of those teams, Malgus, I guess. Radis doesn't do it. So not bad, but expected to pull one of those teams again, which is not bad. Okay, this is Lord Vader. So I did want to say, here's Rey. Yeah. Here's Rey. Non-GL kills versus Rey. Yeah, here's what I was talking about. You have Seer, Cal, and Malicos. 2 out of 3 wins. The loss. Oh, that's a good datacron. 1 minute, 27 seconds. The 2 wins are in 2 minutes. Huh. Or Seer, Maul, Malicos. 2 attempts, 2 wins. 1.5 minutes less each. Okay. But Rey is not as easy as I was expecting, as I've been finding. For Starkiller to take out, or you use your own Rey and kill it 100% of the time. So Rey's still good on defense. I don't think the 5% targeting thing is really that good because Rey's going to be stun locked if killed by Starkiller. Versus Rey, it doesn't really make a difference. I still am not a big fan of Rey on defense. I guess it depends on what you expect your opponent to do, what roster they have, what size they have. Anyway, something to keep in mind. So, the last thing I want to talk about, my God, this is like 30 minutes long. I'm really curious if anybody's listening or watching this, if you like this deep of a dive into teams. Let me know. I would appreciate it. The last thing I want to talk about, which I've sort of been dancing about, or if you're thinking of the big picture as I'm talking through all these little pieces, what do you put on defense? What are the GLs? What are the pieces that you're sort of blocking? So obviously, I'm not going to go through all roster levels. I'm only focused on rosters with Leia. I'm sorry. That's the most interesting to me because I had Leia, and I think every opponent last match had Leia, and last round, I think every one of my opponents this match had Leia also. So, what are the 4 important GLs? I think they're SLKR, Vader, Leia, and Jabba. Why do I think that? This is a big change. JMK was there last time, and Rey was there last time. But obviously Leia's going to be there. She's new, hard to beat. But SLKR is there for the first time in a while. And that's because, let's look at, assuming you want a one-shot, right? There's quite a few 2-shot options, as we just looked for Leia. And for the other GLs, they're sort of well-known 2-shot possibilities. But let's say you want a one-shot everything. So the only GL that looks like it has a reasonable chance of one-shotting Leia is SLKR. And Malicos. Expensive, but I mean, it is what it is. So SLKR is going to one-shot Leia. Then that means SLKR cannot kill Lord Vader, which is he's a great option for virtually all Lord Vader teams, and not going to kill Jabba. It's a great option for Jabba teams. So what's the second option for both of those? Well, you could 2-shot either one of them relatively easily. Or for Lord Vader, you could JML Jedi Knight Cal. That's a very reliable option to kill Lord Vader now. For Jabba, again, 2-shot with Night Sisters and Mon Mothma or something like that. Or use JMK on him. And that's really sort of the only, or you can use JMK on Leia, obviously. You can use JMK even on C. You can use JMK on SLKR in defense. JMK is quite flexible, but like he doesn't, the best thing that JMK is for, I think, is just for killing Jabba, and that's not even that great, because on defense he gets killed by Reva. Now, if you use your Reva for 2-shotting Leia, well, then you have SLKR back, so JMK is sort of not needed anymore. So Jabba is interesting because when you take away SLKR, and maybe you, like we saw earlier, that JMK is the most popular counter to Lord Vader comps. So maybe you have Lord Vader taking away JMK because he's not going to be on defense, which is sort of not great on defense. And then you have, because JML can beat him on defense too. And then you have Jabba. So an SLKR is killing Leia, JMK is killing Lord Vader. What's killing Jabba? JML's not going to do it. You can Jabba Mirror. That's awkward, possible. 2-shot it, but there's some ways to stop the 2-shot. Rey doesn't really kill Jabba. And your Rey's often going to be on defense because she pulls away Starkiller. Starkiller can be a great cleanup for any of these GLs. Yeah. Interesting. It's a very interesting setup. So I think with those 4 GLs, where you place them and what you do with them is critical. SLKR now, I think, is the best offensive GL, has the most range. Crazy, huh? One of the first 2 GLs. And like the most important GL, I think. By the way, versus Leia, it helps immensely if he is faster, but I don't think it's required. I didn't check the speeds of those fights, but it'll be interesting. I might check that later. Anyway, that's what I've got for this season. This is what is informing my defense for this next round, this next week, really. I set the same defense every week. I hope it was helpful. Lots of information here. Oh, actually, you know what? I wanted to talk briefly about the Marauder. So here's Leviathan, standard starting. I didn't specify reinforcements. Marauder, 32% chance win rate. negotiator. Much better to use Empire here or Mirror, but then your Leviathan is not on defense. And the mirrors are 7+ banner wins on average, which means it's great. Chimera is the best offensive option versus Leviathan. So I'm crossing that off, check, check, done. However, this is only with 6-star, 5 or 6-star Marauder. This week we'll have 7-star Marauders, so these numbers certainly will change. Versus Profundity, 30-ish% chance success. I mean, some teams here are like 50% chance success. But yeah, not so sure about that. So 5-star Marauder, pretty much the same. 5 or 6-star Marauder, pretty much the same versus Profundity. Because a lot of people are putting Leviathan, Profundity, Executor on defense. So you can also mirror Profundity, obviously, that's very easy. You have Imperial TIE Bomber, so super, super duper easy if you want to mirror. But then you're left with the Executor problem and the Negotiator with Marauder kills Executor pretty well. So there we go. Marauder's very interesting. Fleet's interesting. It'll be way more interesting, I think, this coming week because we have 7-star Marauders for those who do have them, but there'll be a lot more than last week. I love that Chirpa is good. Crazy. Well, Chirpa and Nisa probably. Fascinating first week. I hope you enjoyed this rather long video, got something, or podcast, got something out of it. Good luck, cheers, and talk to you later.